All right, so today I'd like to go through a quick case study of who primarily we assist with and the folks who are looking to deploy their capital in the most efficient way possible. First, spouse A, 45 years old, spouse B, 45 years old as well. This is a two-income household. Spouse A makes $250, spouse B makes $100,000. Then for the joint savings, they have $100,000. That could be his and hers bank accounts or however they have it split up. But what they have in money markets and savings there, that's at $100,000. So the next piece is in their pre-tax funds, whether it be 401k or IRAs. It's $350,000 for spouse A, $200,000 for spouse B. Now that's all pre-tax funds. Then for the Roth, the tax-free buckets that they have $30,000 in spouse A and $80,000 in spouse B. Spouse A works for a tech company, or a SaaS company more specifically. They have company stock worth about $150,000. That also has 2.5 years left to vest. Next, they have a joint brokerage account worth about $250,000. The primary investments are just overall stock picks, and they've got an unrealized gain of about $60,000 with $10,000 that are currently in a loss position. Then we've got their kiddos. These folks have two kiddos, one being 15 years old with $12,000 in their 529. Kiddo 2, who's 13 years old, has $8,000 in their 529. Their annual savings budget is about $36,000 net. They can afford to save $3,000 a month if they weren't contributing to a 401k, an IRA, or anything as it currently sits. So what I'd like to go through is some of the things that we map out. This is a closer to ideal scenario for who we work with. Your situation may look differently, and the way we would break it down would be different if you had a different setup than the folks that we have on screen right here. So the first thing that we would break down here, they've got $550,000 in pre-tax. They've got about $110,000 in Roth. And then in their joint account or liquid assets, they've got about $350,000. So the big piece here that we're looking at is how to create flexibility. They have the goal to retire or be financially independent at age 55. If they have an annual budget of $36,000 net, if you do some rough finger math calculations off the top of what they've been doing, they're living on about $12,000 to $13,000 a month. So I'll add that in here, is $13,000 a month. That includes their mortgage and everything that's in here as well, which I don't have included here for the case study for this week. Next piece on their 401k, each of them have a 4% match. You can see how this starts to get a little messy here over on the right hand side. So with their 4% match, the first place we're going to allocate that budget is 4% of spouse A and B's income to the 401k. And with their total income that they're bringing in, they're going to invest, about $14,000 a year pre-tax, which net that's going to feel in their tax bracket in that 24%, and this is a Minnesota case, so they'd be in the 9% bracket. That's about a third of that they won't feel on their paycheck. So really what their net outlay is about that $8,000, $9,000 mark is what they're feeling out of pocket. So now we've got $27,000 left to invest. Now, since spouse A has company stock, they also have an employee stock purchase plan. And that company provides a 15% discount up to 10% of their income. So assuming the company is going flat or above, right? If the company is losing in stock value, this may not be the right choice. But assuming the company you anticipate is going to stay flat or going to go up in value, we would allocate the next 10% to the employee stock purchase plan. Now this will take off a big chunk, right? 10% of the income is going toward the company stock. But you'll see I'm not going to take it out of this $27,000. We're going to live off of the joint savings in the meantime, and we're going to wait the 1 year and 1 day for the employee stock purchase plan to go to long-term capital gains, and we're going to sell it. And hopefully the stock has stayed flat or gone up so that we're able to harvest that free discount that your company is providing and just pay the long-term capital gains brackets on it. That's why we're considering this cash flow neutral, or even in this case a bit cash flow positive. But I'm not going to adjust the number just for sake of argument here. The next thing that we want to max out is the HSA. The HSA, this is triple tax advantaged. And most folks, whether it's now or later, are going to have major healthcare expenses. That's going to cost them roughly $9,000 a year into their HSA. So now we're at $18,000 that's left. Now the next question for these folks is, how do we start funneling some of these funds into the tax-free investments or into liquid investments so that they can be financially independent by 55? Well, we need to start building up Roth basis, or we need to continue to increase that brokerage account position. So as a general rule of thumb of what we have left here, we're going to take about $9,000 and we're going to do this into Roth, either 401k or the backdoor Roth IRA. And you can do one for each spouse. So I know the contribution limit is $7,000 a year for each person. You could do 7 and 2. Doesn't really matter how you get there. Or you could do it into the Roth, since you're not fully maxing out your 401k on either side of whose income that you're investing in here. The goal is that you're getting $9,000 of this into Roth to help to start build that basis. The next piece is what we like to do is we like to take some of that profit from the employee stock purchase plan, if there is profit, and that's what we use to start funding the 529s. So the employee stock purchase plan is what's going to fund these 529s here. Now, that profit will kind of keep them on pace for what they're doing. For this particular case study, they don't have a set goal in mind. They just want to make sure, they're doing something for the kids, getting it started, maybe covering 1 year, maybe covering 2. But their primary goal is for them to be financially independent at 55. So we're using kind of that free money from the employee stock purchase plan, and we're using that for the 529 plans to continue funding those, since they have had an irregular contribution schedule to those over the last 15 years or so. With the last $9,000 that we have left now, we're going to take that and we're going to split that between the brokerage account and doing the Roth 401k again. So now that we have this $9,000 left, the goal of it is to build that freedom bucket, that core freedom bucket, which for most folks is either this joint bucket right here, or it's the Roth dollars that you have here. That's what's going to create that flexibility for you to be able to pull that trigger early without having to do separate but equal payments, or without having to do the Rule 55 rule within a 401k, keeping your funds locked in a 401k until 59 and a half. So we'll do that next chunk here into just the brokerage. And what this will do is, over time, we have now allocated their funds efficiently to the order of operations in the next dollar framework that us here at New Horizons Boutique Financial Services have developed. And our goal is to help create these freedom funds for our clients that would like to be financially independent early. Now, what the result of this looks like is now most of their funding is going here to the Roth bucket, and it's going here to the brokerage bucket. They're going to be able to have, in 10 years, they're going to have about $250,000 in this Roth bucket, and they're going to have about $600,000 in this brokerage bucket. Now this will continue to grow too. I'll bring this down here. This will grow. This will probably be around $1 million by that time. But for the folks that are living on, $13,000 a month, 160 or so a year, though that's going to bridge between these two accounts 4 years of retirement extremely easily between the basis, the growth in the account, the brokerage and cash liquid that they have. So now we have the time to let the pre-tax wait until 59 and a half and continue to live off of those funds down the road. So if you found this to be informational and helpful, please click the link in the description below to subscribe, as well as leave a like on the video and leave a comment letting us know what you think. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day.